Welcome back, pro wrestling fans. Welcome back, Twitter universe. It's your old buddy, the Guardian of Chaos, Big Daddy, and I tell it like it is. I'll say that to say this. Fans, do you realize that it's been just about 3 weeks since we had a live edition to put over on YouTube? I can't believe it. Time flies. The Guardian of Chaos has been busy. There's a lot of breaking and trending news, as I always say. And we'll get on to that in this episode of Chaos Corner. I want to welcome everybody back. There's a lot of things going on in the world still. There's a lot of things going on in pro wrestling. There's a lot of things going on in life. So sit back, relax, enjoy. Now, fans, you know that after about 2 minutes and 20 seconds, we'll get off Twitter and we'll go over to YouTube. So hit the link on my Twitter page and you'll go right over to my Guardian of Chaos YouTube channel. Now, fans, over there's hundreds of videos that I've posted in the last 6 months to a year, going over my career through classic footage all the way up to the present day. You're not going to want to miss it. Also on Twitter, because that's where I'm most active, go over and follow my boys at The Show. I like to call it the Hall of Fame Lounge, but it's The Show, and that's at Mario_Chaos. They have a lot of unbelievable footage over there as well. They follow a lot of content creators, which we support here strongly on the Guardian of Chaos and Chaos Corner, if you will. The Big Daddy Show, the Big Daddy Hour. So let's sit back and relax. Twitter, you'll be leaving us soon, but we have a lot of stuff to go over. Once again, first off, I want to give an RIP to a couple of people we lost, and that would be the unbelievable guitarist, perhaps the best in the history, and that would be from Van Halen, Eddie Van Halen. I was lucky and fortunate enough to see Van Halen back in the 80s and then to see Wolf perform with Van Halen in the mid-2000s. So RIP to the Van Halen family, and also the legendary singer, Johnny Nash. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. Go over to YouTube. I can see all obstacles in my way. Welcome over to YouTube, fans. We just got off the Twitter part of Chaos Corner, the Big Daddy Hour, if you will, the Big Daddy Show with your old buddy. So welcome over to YouTube. Everybody on Twitter, I hope you hopped over here. I was talking about giving an RIP to Eddie Van Halen. I can elaborate on that as we go on here. Johnny Nash, an unbelievable song, Bright Sunshiny Day, and boy, do we need that nowadays. And what's going on in the current, here we are in October of 2020, the year 2020. Hasn't been a good year. COVID, we know that. What are we, 7 months in now? Social justice issues, riots, looters, violence, crime going up. You don't know who to believe, who not to believe. I don't like to try to be political here. Throw in the wildfires out west, the unbelievable hurricanes that are bashing the coast down there in New Orleans and Texas, and unbelievable what's happening in the world. And now we're heading into the election. So who knows what's going to happen with the continued violence, and who knows what to believe in politics. And I believe, just coming from me, my opinion, this is out there, I believe the media is a lot of the problem by stoking the flames and stoking the fires of what's going on here in the great country of the United States of America. Now, we already saw the first political debate, which was a debacle. We have the vice presidential debate coming up. I believe that might even be this week or tonight, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm not here to talk about any of that stuff. But that is current and relevant to what's going on in the world and the whole mask mandate and social distancing. And it's just a lot of information out there. You don't know who to believe. That's why you have to be an independent thinker. Go by your own morals and values and guidelines of what you believe and be informed. Don't get consumed by it. Don't let it stop you living your life. But you always have to be aware of your surroundings and what's going on to be informed. So I'll say that to say this. Let's get back into pro wrestling. I just wanted to address that. I have a lot of news. First off, wait, let me go to what might be, or hopefully, a potential sponsor, because you know it gives me wings. The sound of the nectars. I go with the sugar-free. I may have put on the Quarantine 15, but I still go with the sugar-free Red Bull. Here's to everybody out there in 2020. Let's hope we have a more prosperous 2021, but stay positive and focused through the rest of 2020 and get out there and vote and don't let it consume you. Again, I'm back on my soapbox. That's not what I wanted to do, but I appreciate everyone listening and tuning in. Hit the like, the subscribe, spread the word. I've been on YouTube since 2017, but I've only really been active for the last 6 months. I post short clips of my past and all the people I've been blessed and fortunate enough to work with. So the channel's growing slowly, but I'm putting out a lot of content, a lot of current active stuff. I don't like to say stuff, but I said it anyway. But anyway, back to my point. This is what we do here on Chaos Corner, the Big Daddy Show, if you will. We bounce around. You see I'm repping the old-time Big Daddy gear, the company out of Malvern, Pennsylvania, that was responsible for dressing yours truly through the 90s and into the 2000s. Hoping for another sponsor. Wait, hold on. Let me get the logo right. Red Bull. That was a long sponsorship. Speaking of sponsors, I'm going to get onto that after my Red Bull. Bing, bing, bing. Wasn't that from Ricochet Rabbit? You fans may not be old enough to remember that. Speaking of sponsors, I want to go out to my old buddy, Mr. Hempel-Stillskin, who is the owner, the proprietor, here in the Constitution State, locally owned, locally grown, small business entrepreneur, and that would be Sweet Heel. Fans, I say it all the time. You hear me say it on the worldwide Patrick Ryan Show with Dino. You've heard me say it on the Curtain Call podcast from the Yes Network with the president of the Yes Network, Mr. John J. Filippelli, and best-selling author Kevin Sullivan. Sweet Heel. SweetHeal.com. If you use the promo code CHAOS, you get 25% off. With the way the economy is going since this pandemic, although I do think the president did a great job on the economy until this hit, with the way the pandemic's going and unemployment, 25% off. It doesn't get any better than that. So go over and visit Mr. Hempel-Stillskin and SweetHeal.com for all your CBD needs. CBD life, CBD wellness, CBD oil, tinctures, balms, edibles. I can't stress it enough. As a guy who has a litany of injuries, let's bounce through my career. Not only a doorman, aka bouncer, for 25 years from coast to coast and border to border. Being a private investigator, a repo man, concert security, private bodyguard for many, many superstars, pro wrestling manager who took the bumps. I've had more injuries than Terry Funk and Brett Favre put together. I know that's a lot, but think about that. And if I don't go a day without using the Sweet Heel products, especially the lotions for the knees, the shoulders, it doesn't matter where you want to use it. And it's even good, the tinctures and the oils for your pets. Say it's the 4th of July, it's the holidays, or maybe even, who knows what's going on. You give a little bit of that to your animal, your pet, your family member, and he will be calm and won't be scared during somebody who gets carried away with fireworks in your neighborhood. And that's SweetHeal.com, Mr. Hempel-Stillskin. I know I've gone on and on about sponsors, but sponsors are what we need, and the sponsors are what we love. So back to the pro wrestling world, since I was talking about Red Bull, we took a little break. I have a lot of things I want to discuss. A lot of dates in history. You see that I always have a lot of notes. I want to talk about the third-party issues that's going on in the world of professional wrestling, especially with the WWE and Vince McMahon, because he started all this. Maybe we could talk a little bit about the Raw and SmackDown draft. I got to tell you, if it wasn't for guys like JD from New York, or Don Tony, or Hannibal TV or Joe Cronin or certain guys and different people that I follow and listen to, I wouldn't even know, because I got to tell you, I DVR all the shows, but it has to catch my eye and I stay on top of it because it's the business that I'm in. There's a lot of competition out there. Impact Wrestling is back and they're doing a tremendous job, and what an unbelievable roster they have. I really like the product, and I believe Jordan Grace might have just won the X Division title, if I'm not mistaken, on my current news. So Impact has been the group that has really tried to trend, whether it be Tessa Blanchard being the first female to hold a male heavyweight title, and now Jordan Grace. So Impact's doing a lot of good things. I know MLW's back because I follow Court Bauer. They're coming back with a lot of current content, and they're getting ready to start running again. So MLW's always been an unbelievable group with an unbelievable roster, but this pandemic in the different states that you're running in has really affected the organizations. Right now, one of the hottest things going is Ring of Honor. They're running down in Maryland. Now, their Ring of Honor Pure tournament has been incredible. Some of the guys that have been in there, from Jay Lethal to Silas Young, I can go on and on with the competitors. It's really been an unbelievable tournament that's got the wrestling community abuzz. So if you look at Impact, you look at what Ring of Honor is really doing, and having success with it through the Sinclair Broadcasting Group, and then you look at what MLW and Court Bauer are about to do. We obviously know what Vince and the WWE is doing. They're still running. Okay, they're moving from Full Sail University over to the Performance Center for NXT. Obviously, they're still running in Orlando, the Thunderdome, if you will, for Raw and SmackDown, and say what you want. The ratings are dwindling, but on Fox, all they care about is the money. They're still drawing over 2 million on Friday nights. And let's face it, Monday Raw, 1.5 million. Considering back in the 90s during WCW, they were drawing 8 million a night. Can you imagine that compared to what it is now? I know there's competition out there right now with the NFL and Major League Baseball playoffs, and the finals are on, but there's still on 3 nights a week to WWE, and still drawing in numbers, whether it be number 5 on cable, number 12. Well, that's AEW, that was number 5. So there's a lot to be said for what the WWE is doing, although just pushing out too much content, social saturation. That's just my opinion. So we're talking about the different groups now. Who knows if the NWA is coming back? I'm also hearing rumors, although a lot of their talent is going here, there, and everywhere. So I personally hope the NWA comes back, to be quite honest with you. Now, New Japan is running strong. I always love the Japanese product over there. New Japan has a great group. What else is going on? And of course, we know that my affiliation with the Godfather, Tony Capone, and the North American Wrestling Alliance, there's breaking news out of there too, with the NAWA, which is back with a vengeance. Now, I don't know what capacity I'll be back in. I know I was the last commissioner, the current commissioner, taking over for Bruno Sammartino. But breaking news to the Godfather and NAWA, Davey Boy Smith Jr., Harry Smith, if you will, just signed to be with the NAWA. It broke right before I got on the air. Davey Boy Smith Jr., British Bulldog, whatever you want to call him, Harry Smith, I call him, an unbelievable talent, is on board with the NAWA. Let me get on to that. Coming up, speaking of breaking and trending news, so I hope you're staying with me. This comes from Tony Capone himself. December 19th, down in Daytona Beach, Jingle Brawl for the North American Wrestling Alliance. It's going to be at the Ocean Center. As a matter of fact, tickets are on sale now. It's going to be on iPay-per-view, so you can watch it. Now, I'm not sure of the roster, of the matchups, or the lineups. As the commissioner, I know I should know this, but things are ever-changing. It's the business. That's what happens. And things are ever-changing with the NAWA and Tony Capone. But that I know. Breaking news here. Davey Boy Smith Jr., a.k.a. Harry Smith, with the NAWA, and I'm assuming that on December 19th at the Daytona Beach Ocean Center for Jingle Brawl that he will be there. I've also found other news coming out of the NAWA by talking to Tony himself and doing my research. He's on the Stro podcast. That's Papa Stro, the maestro from the old WCW, an unbelievable guy with a great show with Dr. John and Chaz Moretti. They put a lot of great stuff out there on their podcast. So I've heard Tony on there. And feel free to get in touch with the Godfather, whether it be on Facebook, which is where he is most socially media active. And he's going to get back to everybody because they're going international. I'm hoping to be a part of it. I'm not sure in what capacity. We'll see what happens. But I strongly support the NAWA and their product as the commissioner. So that's breaking news that you won't get anywhere else. That's coming from the horse's mouth himself. Speaking of people with mouths, no disrespect because no one's got a bigger mouth than me. And I know I'm jumping all over the place here. I went from organizations to podcasts to the NAWA. Fans, if you're not listening to Avi Klein on Facebook and his social media platform, I said it on the last show that I did. I know that I waited too long. I have to be doing this weekly, if not nightly. But if you're not listening to that platform, on Mondays, he has Breaking the Ice with Glacier Ray Lloyd. And I said it on the last episode. I know that. Tuesday, he has Face Value with Bill DeMott. And, of course, the Carrie Ann DeMott Foundation. Please donate it. To it, it's for Bill DeMott's daughter, Carrie Ann, who was tragically killed 5 years ago, coming up this weekend, by a drunk driver. So Bill's now life mission is to bring awareness about distracted driving, drunk driving. Because 5 years ago this weekend, he lost his daughter, Carrie Ann DeMott. So go out to the Carrie Ann DeMott Foundation. Donate whatever you can, whether it be $1, $5, $500, or $5,000. He's also on Tuesday nights, Face Value, as I said, with Avi Klein, 5:30 Eastern Time. Wednesday nights, Paul Roma, Power and Glory, Four Horsemen, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes in my honor. Maintaining the Truth, Wednesday nights on Facebook with Avi Klein. It's 7 p.m. Eastern Time, an unbelievable podcast. All these podcasts are on one platform with Avi Klein as the co-host on Facebook, Facebook Live, and Twitch. Thursdays, Making Waves with Don Morocco. Unbelievable show. 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Aloha time. Mahalo, peheaoi, melihini, wahini, and kane from your brother, the Big Kapuna. Popule Wiki Wiki. Mahalo. That's an unbelievable podcast. Friday with Mike Duke the Dumpster Drosy. Road to Recovery. Great show. Real show. Duke the Dumpster Drosy I met at the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. An unbelievable guy. Positive, and he helps out a lot of people. Saturdays now with Mickey Doyle and David Holliday and all the guys. Adam Sentif, an unbelievable guy. Sentif! You guys know who I am. I'm just under a different name on Facebook. The Green Room, another unbelievable show. They talk about everything. And then Sundays, one of my favorite shows. That would be Unmasking the Truth with the Patriot Del Wilkes. Now that's an unbelievable show to talk about politics, All Japan, his career over there. He just had a very heated debate with Jonard Soley. Yes, Jonard Soley, the legendary Gordon Soley's son. So they were both on the opposite sides. You can go back and replay all this stuff. It's on Facebook Live, like I said, and this is what I do. I put other people over because I'm always listening, learning, knowledge. That's why you hear me drop a lot of names on my shows when I broadcast. So back to what I was talking about. If you're missing any of those shows, you're making a big mistake. 7 days a week, it's on Facebook, Twitch. I was talking about the NAWA, the Stro, unbelievable people, Chaz Moretti, that Tony Capone is hooked up with. So we'll see what's going forward. He's got a lot of talent. Signed Ali Rex from the Independents, Rosalie, the makeup queen, who I know personally, Will Aldi, Chris Raybor from Austria, Mike Orlando, the former WWE star. The Slambonis are coming back to the NAWA. He's in negotiations with Mr. Kennedy, Ken Anderson, Amber Rodriguez, Terry Gordy's daughter, Miranda Gordy, living legend Larry Zbyszko, and recently released after 36 years from the WWE, Gerald Briscoe. Now, I don't know in what ilk. Obviously, they will not be stepping into the ring, those legends, but there's a lot of things happening, and recently signing another buddy of mine, Drew, Big Drew, Andrew Anderson, and the Taskmaster, Kevin Sullivan, coming to the NAWA. So a lot of things happening. So we'll stay local and keep it current and local here. We're coming up on almost 20 minutes. You know, I don't want to go too long. I want the views, subscribe, like. Let's expand this channel. I was talking about it earlier. Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, we know who they are. The Paradise Four: Paul Roma, Mario Mancini, Big Steve Tracy, Paul Perez. Well, this past weekend, I was inducted into my second Hall of Fame, and that would be the class of 2020 Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. It was an unbelievable night. Now, this was put together by the three-time tag team champions for Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, who's also signed with the NAWA. That would be Hakim Ali. Did you ever see the size of the arms on Hakim Ali? Well, Hakim Ali and Nick Payne and Showtime Marcel Williams, the leader of the Tri-State Kings, they put this all together with the Paradise family, like Juliana, who's unbelievable and runs the social medias. What an unbelievable person. Very smart young lady. Ref Bill Thompson, Ref Jay Mendez, my boy El Ref El Gallo Tres Huevos, the Zebras of Justice. Throw in all the young studs like Kylon King, Flash Waller, Sean and Jay Haven, Zachariah Gibbs. Unbelievable what they've done to the school and what's going on at Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, and we're going to get into that. So they were all there. And of course, the director of operations, my brother from behind the wall, Sergeant Murray, they were all there for the class of 2020 Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling induction ceremonies. It was myself, Sarge, Double P Paul Perez, Paul Roma, obviously the legend, and then of course Big Steve and Mario went in together as Old School. What an unbelievable, entertaining night. I'm sure it'll be out on social media, on YouTube. Now, Nick and Hakim inducted myself. It was quite entertaining. Now, I didn't go back and talk about my whole career like last year at the class of 2019 New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, where it was basically a 15-minute speech that spanned my whole career from my training in 1985 to my debut in 1992 up to when I walked away in 08 and then came back in 2015 after my daughter's passing and Michael J. D'Angelo being killed in an automobile accident. That's when I came back into the business and was fortunate enough to volunteer for Dieselmania. And I did it out of in honor of my daughter's passing. So that's where it all came together, relit the fire. I hooked up with Mario into Paradise 4, and that's where I've been for the last 5 years. So that's where I started this speech with Paradise Alley, with 2015 to the current 2020 going into 2021. So it was a good speech. I had a lot of fun, kept it short. I've only had a short career with Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, so I'm so humbled and honored that they chose to induct me and to go in with the ilk of 4 guys that worked under the guidance of Vincent Kennedy McMahon in the 80s and 90s, and in Roma's case on into WCW, who they've been in the ring with. It was such an honor just to be there. Like I said, in the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, Joe Bruin's New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, to be there with the talent that I was being inducted with, and then to see the members that are in the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, and now to be a part of the first class with these guys. It's unbelievable what's going on at Paradise Alley and what they're doing trending forward, and all the great talent, even the mainstays like Zafir Al-Rahihi, Maxim Morozov, The Prophecy, Big Jim Anderson, the Pyramids of Power, Nutrius X, Matthias DiNapoli, the flamboyant Kenny Roberts. These are all the mainstays of Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. I might even be missing a couple of guys, whether it be because I haven't seen them in a while, like Big Vlad or Big Daddy Dre, guys of that ilk that have come in, Danny Adam, and of course my brother, the United States champion Buzz Bloodsaw, and then even my brother for 25 years, the New England Beast, the Intercontinental champion Bull Dread. So there's a lot there. There's a lot to be said in that night. And Paradise Alley Group itself, and some of the guys are going on to sign with NAWA. Paradise Alley, it might end up becoming a training camp for NAWA. So although independent companies, look at the people they're associated with. Look what happened in the Hall of Fame, and I'll get back to that night before I expand on to other things, because I could talk all day. I could do this for 2 hours, one man show. So to have Nick and Hakim induct me in, it was great. We had a lot of fun. There was a lot of food. Everybody at the Paradise Alley family cooked up more food than you can imagine. The arena looked great. We had it right in the ring with the podium. Again, you could see on all the social media platforms on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram for Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. Then Double P, Paul Perez, was inducted also by the House of Pain, but he had El Ref come up and translate his speech in full lucha style mask. Double P Paul Perez, a man of few words, my former producer at the Mario and Chaos podcast, a second generation grappler. He grew up in the business. His mother and father were both professional wrestlers. So for him to go up in lucha style mask and never say a word, and El Ref to translate it into Spanish, it was a good time. It was a great moment. Perez is what I would call someone very influential. And then at the end, he ended up taking off the mask, so that was great. A lot of fun moments. Sarge was also inducted and gave a great speech, and Sarge got into the pro wrestling business late in his career, and had some success. Was former United States champion at Paradise Alley. Was in the ring with Hacksaw Jim Duggan. He's done very well for himself. Now director of operations, served this country. So you got to give a lot of credit to Sergeant Murray. His speech was fun. It was a lot of laughs. Richard Holiday, the current Caribbean heavyweight champion, MLW star, the first student at Paradise Alley, came home for the induction ceremonies. He inducted Big Steve and Mario together as old school. And now I got to tell you, Holiday is one of the most entertaining people, and that's why he's going to make it into this business, because he's a guy that can do everything. It could be commentary. In the ring, he's old school. He's got the moves, he's got the style, he's got the presence, he's got the look. He was entertaining as all get out, dag nabbit, if you will, if that even makes sense. And he was directing, helping the voice of Paradise Alley, Matt DeCourt, direct the red carpet ceremonies. So he just adds and brings a lot whenever he comes home, Richard Holiday. And that's a guy that the sky's the limit. He's already in MLW. He's the most marketable. He even said that we were all at the Hall of Fame breathing rarefied air, and he will be a no-brainer 100% ballot PAPW Hall of Famer, but that's not going to be a while. He's got a good 20 years in this business. So it's a lot of lighthearted moments. The founder of Paradise Alley, Big Steve, really laid into Mario with some nice jokes. They gave great speeches. These guys are mentors, not only in wrestling but in life, to all the guys down there. That's why they're called Pop, which leads me into Paul Roma being inducted by Showtime Marcel Williams. Showtime's a class act, looked tremendous. And then to have Roma come up, the legend that Paul Roma is, to give his speech and to listen to the crowd. He had him eating out of his hands. It was a very fun night. It was a family feeling. It was positivity. So I just want to thank those guys. And if you get a chance to check out that stuff, and just what Roma and Paradise Alley are doing down there is unbelievable. So that was a great night. One of these shows, when I do another half an hour show or 45-minute show, we're going to review my times at the class of 2019 New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame at Warwick, Rhode Island at the Crown Plaza, and then leading into FanFest 7 the next day with all the stars, and what a night that was. We're going to review that on one of these shows. So now the Guardian of Chaos is a two-time Hall of Famer. Who knew? 35 years in the business, blessed and fortunate, but what a night it was. So speaking of Richard Holiday and what's going to, let me get into the transition to the current, what's going on. It's on tonight, so this will probably be posted pretty soon. AEW tonight, they're celebrating 30 years of Chris Jericho. Now, I have to be honest with you. I have a Jericho story, too, because I've appeared on a couple of events with him back in the early 2000s, middle 2000s with Jericho, and when he was doing a lot of independent shows for a group that I work with called Northeast. AEW tonight. First off, it's 1 year for AEW and consistently coming up on 1 million viewers every Wednesday night for Dynamite. What Tony Khan and Cody Rhodes and all the guys are doing at AEW down in Jacksonville is unbelievable. And that's why they've stayed in Florida along with the WWE because of the COVID pandemic restrictions. They've been able to run. It's been the only game in town right through all this. So what they've been able to do during this pandemic, 1 year now on TNT, unbelievable. As we are here in October 2020. 30 years for Jericho, 1990 to 2020, and that's who Holiday reminds me of to an extent. Not in his in-ring ability, but just in how multifaceted and multitasking they are, kind of like myself. In other words, you wear every hat. You can contribute in any capacity to any company, and you're good at everything that you put your foot forward to. That's what Jericho is, Holiday, and in my sense for what I do, yeah, I'm going to say it. I'll be arrogant because I believe in myself for what I do also. But back to Jericho. He's been champion at WWE probably like 7 or 8 times, ECW multiple times, New Japan, WCW multiple titles, Y2J, the Demo God, Lionheart, Le Champion, whatever you want to call him. You know, his first match was with Lance Storm. It's a long time ago. And now he's with the Inner Circle. So, I mean, it's just unbelievable what's going on with AEW 1 year in. And they're only on once a week. I guess you can count AEW Dark. I'm not being a fanboy here. I'm just talking about as a guy who's been in the business for 35 years. What I like and what entertains me and my demographic. I'm not an old, just purely old school classic guy, although that's my wheelhouse. I watch the current product, and I'm going to be honest. I don't want to be too negative. WWE, a lot of it isn't for me. I find myself being drawn into AEW because of the ring psychology, the storylines, the emotional investment. They want to make me come back and see it the next week. Listen, a lot of it's sloppy. They're not following the rules, but they're putting the best foot forward, and it's entertaining, and just even the atmosphere at Dailies. And look at what they were doing before the pandemic. It wasn't 600 people at Full Sail University. It was 10,000 at an arena. They're not oversaturating, and AEW Dark is growing too. A lot of people on YouTube. So Jericho, that ought to be very interesting tonight. And to my story, I was working with him in New York on a show. We're in an autograph session. Now listen, yeah, as a manager, broadcaster, and guy who took the bumps, my character, yeah, I had gimmick at one time. I had it when no one else had it. I had to make money somehow. It wasn't easy. So we're all in one room. You know, there's a bunch of fans milling about. Jericho's in there. I believe the Dudleys, Hacksaw, Jim Duggan, a lot of ECW, WCW guys, because that's who Northeast used. You know the reputation of Northeast Wrestling. Lombardi, O'Brien, whatever it was, he treated me well. He always brings in the stars and treats the boys good and girls good. And when he runs a show, there's thousands of people. He has the meet and greets, the whole 9 yards. So pretty impressive. That's been running for 20 or 25 years, whatever you want to say. So we're there, and I'm there with whatever woman I happen to be with, escort that was with me that night, friend, more to speak, whatever you want to call it. Let's face it, she was with the Guardian of Chaos. But anyway, Jericho's looking for someone to go get him coffee. Now, the one I was with was a bombshell. Okay, so it's like, okay, can I get a coffee? Could somebody get me a coffee? And he's like, hey, yeah, you. And he points to the hottie with me. Can you go, come here. She walks over, can you grab me a cup of coffee? And she's like, yeah, I guess so. She walks back over to me. She goes, is that okay with you? I said, go ahead. It's Chris Jericho. I'm not worried about it. She comes back, gives him the coffee, comes back over to me. She goes, boy, he's a nice guy, but that was kind of presumptuous, wasn't it? Needless to say, whatever happened afterwards, she was still with me, but it was a fun night, and I remember they were charging money for their autographs. Again, it's just a story that popped into my head, whether it's relevant or not. Just the interactions we had. I was pulled aside and said, hey, Big Daddy of Chaos, can you not sell your 8x10s for $5 or whatever? Because I'm an independent guy. Just most of them I gave away for free, $7, $10, whatever I was charging. Just fortunate to be there. It's about giving back because I did it for love and passion. And yeah, you want to make a couple of bucks, but it's about paying it forward and giving it back too. And I understand the big stars, that's their living because it wasn't my full-time job. They either upped your price or, kick rocks. because we're trying to make money here, this, that, and it's kind of hurting our business. And out of respect, because I give everybody respect, I ended up saying, yeah, no problems. Y2J, I got you, Chris. Good, great guy. Blessed and fortunate, had interactions with him, but the stories that you have as a guy like myself who's been a nomadic person in the business, who worked all the territories, so to speak, and for 50 different organizations throughout 35 years, you run into stars. I got stories with all of them, and that's one of them with Jericho. A cool guy, this, that, but I figured I'd throw it out there as the show is going to be on tonight. So also on there tonight, Brody Lee and Cody Rhodes in a dog collar match. I'm looking forward to that. And this is what I like about AEW before I got onto the Jericho story. They use the legends, whether it be Arn, Tully, Jake, Taz. I like that as an old school guy. Maybe it's not for the younger people, but it's good for me. It's what the Guardian of Chaos likes. About 35 minutes in here, fans. It flies. So with that being said, I'm going to need a little Red Bull break, and I hope you're watching throughout the whole show because we're going to wrap it up soon. It does give me wings. What do you think of the new, letting it grow in a little bit? Not sure where we're headed with this. Not sure where we're headed with anything at this point, but I'm going to still continue to do me. And before I do that, I want to give a big shout out to the Patrick Ryan Show with Dino, which is on Monday through Friday from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And obviously you can check it out in whatever time zones because it's an international internet radio show. Unbelievable. This guy was on Sirius XM for years. Top of the line. Not for everybody, but you won't find it on regular radio. This is free radio, free speech with a guy who's unique and unapologetic, and a guy that I've been around for years. And you don't have to agree with the platform, but if you listen and open up your mind, not for everybody, but I'm blessed and fortunate to be on his platform because I consider him to be a genius. Don't always agree with him. That's for damn sure. I don't always agree with anybody. I have my own thoughts, and you'll hear it on Chaos Corner on the Patrick Ryan Show with Dino. International, national, every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Do I have something going on here? It's tough when you don't have your own producer. When you don't have the mic to shut things off, you don't have makeup, you're not sure what's going on. But this is why I'm different than every other show that's out there on YouTube. Back to Patrick Ryan, Thursday nights, Chaos Corner. Chaos Corner is everywhere. I was just on the Curtain Call Yes Network podcast with best-selling author, I got to say it now, Bully Ray said it to me a couple of times 20 years ago, the Hall of Famer from the Dudley Boys and Busted Open Radio. Give me 5 spots, I'll screw up 4 of them. New York Times best-selling author Kevin Sullivan and president of the Yes Network, National Broadcasting Hall of Fame, Mr. John J. Filippelli. I was on the Curtain Call. What a privilege and an honor. And the interview came out great. It wasn't just about me. They talked a lot about baseball, the playoffs. Those guys are true professionals, class acts. That's why I associate myself with them, and I was fortunate to be on. So go back and check Curtain Call. Listen to me on the Patrick Ryan Show with Dino for Chaos Corner. I'm all over the place, especially here on YouTube. I'm very active on Twitter, at Big Daddy GOC. And the GOC stands for the Guardian of Chaos. Like I said, at Mario_Chaos for my boys over at the show. On Facebook, who knows what's going to happen. So I wanted to throw that out and what's happening with people that I'm affiliated with. Obviously, I'll always be associated and affiliated with the Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling Group and the Paradise 4. We're going to talk about that if we have time, because next weekend they have 2 big shows. I might come back with a separate Big Daddy show, Chaos Corner, if you will, with what's going on with Paradise Alley next weekend. 2 big shows on Saturday and Sunday, the 10th and the 11th. Under pressure down at the Paradise Alley Professional Wrestling Training Facility with all the stars, including MLW's own Richard Holiday is coming home. So before I get on to closing things up, also tonight, one of my favorite tag teams, FTR, is putting the titles on the line. That's obviously Wheeler and Harwood with Tully against the Hybrid on Helico and Jack Evans. Jack Evans, good guys, but I'm not sure if they can hold up against FTR. And then I'll get back to what I was talking about. 8-man tournament for the AEW title shot. A lot of guys involved. Jungle Boy, Ray Phoenix, Omega. Tonight, I believe Jericho, not only 30 years of Jericho, but I believe the Inner Circle, Jericho and Jack Hager, against Dr. Luther and Serpentico. And I wanted to address that because they're called now the Chaos Effect. I said it years ago about Big Daddy Cool, Kevin Nash, Big Sexy, after all my stuff was up there, and I've said it before because I have affiliations with AEW. Justin Roberts, my brother, great person, unbelievable talent, sent a lot of my stuff to AEW. I am the guardian of chaos, but now I'll consider an honor. I like it. Now the Chaos Effect is an AEW. That's right. The Chaos Effect is an AEW. And fans, I'm no conspiracy guy, and I keep holding like this because that's how I think sometimes. But if that's not coming from the guardian of chaos, then wake up, change the channel because you don't know what you're talking about. I've been influencing this business for years. That's a fact. Facts matter. That's why I'm always quoting. I'm a writer too, historian. Remember that. So I'm happy to see the Chaos Effect. FTW Championship tonight. Cage with Taz, who I love, against Will Hobbs. Now, Will Hobbs is a hot commodity in great shape. Two big men. Let's see what happens. What else do we have for tonight? I already talked about a lot of it. It's going to be an unbelievable event. I like AEW. I'll always follow WWE, but AEW is where it's at for me right now. So fans, I went over what I wanted to. We're on 40 minutes. I just wanted to talk about a bunch of different things. I'm stumbling and rambling here because this is what happens when it's a one-man show. It's ad-lib, it's organic with minimal notes. This is what I do. We're going to continue to do this. Follow me. Spread the word, like I said. Hit me up on all social media. I had so much stuff to go over tonight, but again, it's advisable not to go over 25 or 30 minutes. I've learned that from a lot of people. But we're going to have a lot of fun with this. You're going to learn a lot of things here. And I appreciate everyone out there. Again, let's spread this. Follow me. Let's do this. I'm always going to be in different views and gimmicks, and there might be some things that I addressed that we never got back to, or I said I was going to address and we didn't get back to. But just remember what you're getting here. Quality content from your boy, the guardian of chaos, Big Daddy. Because I tell it like it is. Continue to follow me. Thank you and appreciate everybody. This is where it's at. Chaos Corner. Don't you dare miss it.